Contractors of Reddit. What's the strangest thing someone has requested be built in their house? My dad was a building inspector in an affluent town for many years. You had your standard crazy stuff. 20,000 square featuring houses. Ripping out a year-old kitchen because the homeowner was tired of it. 9-car garages, etc. He's been gone many years now, but I remember these two stories as my favorites. 1. Couple is doing a master bath reno. My dad goes to inspect the rough and plumbing and asks the contractor why he ran pipes for 2 tubs. Ends up the second tub was for the couple's dog. And, when my dad went to do the final inspection, it was marble and had brass fixtures. Some dogs live the life. 2. Rich businessman owns 2 houses on a corner lot. They are each on an acre, so they're fairly far apart and one faces one street and the other another street. Pretty normal, nice colonial houses. Ends up there was a tunnel put in connecting the 2 houses. Guy had his wife and family in one and his mistress in the other, and he wanted to go back and forth between the 2 houses without the neighbors seeing it. Well, I actually am a contractor. I built a nightclub in a guy's basement that had a $250K commercial sound system and a full-blown nightclub lighting and video rig. Also, an underground waterfall flow down behind the DJ booth from the main entry. Driveway water feature. The whole thing done in glossy black marble, with a bar kitted out with commercial appliances. Total fit-out cost would have been north of $750K USD. First time it was used was for the 15-year-old daughter's birthday party. Imagine you are that 15-year-old and your parents go out of town for the weekend. Landscaper stoneworker here. For very specific types of jobs. After we lay a path patio etc with interlock stones, we pack the cracks with a special polymer sand and run a heavy vibrating machine with a flat plate at the bottom over top. It sets the stones and settles the sand. The homeowner saw this and insisted we run the machine over his other walkways, made from thin cheap cement slabs. Finally we did it and smashed them into shards. One house we did the drywall in had a bunch of extra plumbing in the garage. We ended up finding out it was for a urinal. It sounded strange at first, but later we found out it was a family with 5 boys. A urinal in your home kinda sounds cool come to think of it. A bowling alley in the basement. It had quite a lot, like a phone booth shipped from England, a table for a large train set, tile painted to look like that map carpet in every kid's room but bigger, a wooden rotating shelving unit for full-blown laser tag equipment, secret doors, and a video game room with a projector, blacklights and neon. That sounds awesome. Not a contractor, but my parents requested some fun weird stuff when they built their house, including a bookshelf door, a revolving wall, and a fire pole. Getting a 20-foot pole into place was a challenge. One of my friends in high school had a frosted glass window in his bathroom that connects directly to the living room. I have never felt comfortable enough to poop in there. I saw this in a very high-end hotel that had this is the rooms between bathroom and room, and the glass was clear towards the top. Very strange. And to be clear, this was not a love hotel. This was one of the best known hotels in the country. Years ago I installed a kitchen in a house for an older couple, 60s-70s. Whilst we were there they showed us their playroom. A huge room set up for his toy train sets that go in a circuit around a central platform stage area for karaoke. It was actually pretty dang impressive. That de-escalated quickly. I hung a $10K Swarovski crystal chandelier in Papa John's house. It was even motorized so it could be raised and lowered for cleaning and service. I swear his basement looked like a 15th century dungeon. I also worked on a very old house that was built by the Bingham family of publishing fame. Part of the basement had a dirt floor with 2 tombstones in it. Motorized is the only way to successfully have a nice chandelier. Otherwise it is a nightmare. Sigh. Signed, wedding venue people who thought chandeliers in 20 feet ceiling grand rooms were a great idea. Not so much built into the home, but what they were doing with construction materials. During the end of framing and beginning of rough-ins and drywall, we would come back to work on Mondays to find crap tampered with everywhere. Not vandalized, but stuff like 100 feet of romex unwound and rolled back up, Large ladders being placed in different rooms or drywall joints compound opened with handprints smeared here and there. Little things like that. It really just looked like a bunch of kids messing around, but this was a quiet, secluded, luxury neighborhood, and the neighbors around only reported seeing the new homeowners visiting the site on Saturdays or Sundays. In fact, the architect lived around the corner and kept an eye on the home and never saw anything suspicious either. No big deal seeing that nothing was ever missing or destroyed, I guess. Fast forward to move-in time. I was walking through with the homeowners for a final punch list. I saw some of their decorations and artwork being put up throughout the home. There were several very artsy photographs in black and white of the lady homeowner in the nude, tied up with romex, or drywall mud and paint smeared on her, or giving full view shots from up on a ladder, all taken inside the home during different stages of construction. At least you got some closure for the ghost temperings. Not a contractor, but used to deliver wine for a few years, from a facility where people kept their collections. These are high-end wines that people were paying good money to keep in prime conditions, and as such had decent homes to go with them. One client had us hold the wine while she was doing renovations, and whilst they were still in progress, we had to bring them back to their newly built wine cellar. The only catch was, we couldn't take them through the main hallway, as the floor tiling hadn't gone in yet, and the floor needed to be carefully prepared, kept level, etc. It seemed a bit pedantic, but okay. Over a few days we gradually got all the wine back in the house. Meanwhile, this floor was gradually going in. Around the time we finished up, the floor was done too, and we decided to take a look. The floor was comprised of large tiles, about 2 feet x 2 featuring, made of thick, clear glass, and led to a large open kitchen living area with floor-to-ceiling windows looking out over a very expensive view. The tiles weren't just glass though. Looking closer, it was 2 panes of glass, and in between were thousands of little plastic people. All the people were reaching up and holding up the pane of glass that the occupants walked on, and these tiles covered the whole floor in this hallway. You had to walk over them to move throughout the house. They were literally walking on top of little people, which, considering the excess of this home, was mind-boggling. Bonus story. There was another home built on a cliffside we had to deliver to that had about 2 flights of stairs to get to the home, which itself was tied with about 4 stories descending the cliff, with a pool room, i.e. pool table, gym situated on the floor beneath the pool, actual pool for swimming in. 2 flights of stairs must have been a bit too much effort to get to the house, since they also had a fully enclosed electric lift installed to take them from street level to the front yard. That was also not a fun place to cart wine around in, since the wine cellar was through the pool room on the lowest level. I do enough home renovation for myself and friends, but not licensed. I talk them out of the strange crap, but we did find a full-length 2-way mirror into the basement bathroom in the current house during demo. Secret access panel in the utility room next door. I've posted pics on here to our creepy if anyone is interested. Thankfully that room has since been gutted. It was unnerving just being in there. Funny room in a house called a dressing room, which made sense as it had huge closets and a table with one of those makeup mirrors surrounded by lights. A door off this room led to a full bath, which had a second door leading to another bedroom. In the first door was a one-way mirror so that someone could look from the dressing room into the bath. But from the bath side of the door, it would be a mirror, good for seeing if the bathroom was occupied, but also for viewing someone stepping out of the shower. Yet another from someone who is not a contractor. When traveling we visited my wife's aunt who had been widowed by her electrician husband. Our first hint that the house was strange was that the doorbell was a large red button like you'd find on an industrial machine. Very weird considering this was a typical middle-class bungalow in Calgary. Once inside we asked the aunt about the button and she started showing us other odd electrical setups, several that she did not know how to work properly. There were drawers you had to open to get light switches to work. There was a large industrial panel near the front door with about 20 buttons on it that controlled different things in the house. There were micro switches hidden all over the place. By far the strangest thing though, was the master bedroom. It housed a large circular waterbed and the walls were covered with 4 inches long shaggy fur. Hidden inside the fur were many tiny switches that controlled things such as spotlights or a radio. That sounds like Charlie from Willy Wonka got old and did drugs. Awesome. Pulling the good old not a contractor but I was the maintenance director at a summer camp for a couple years. We used one of the buildings on the property to typically house married couples who were temporarily staying on property while they worked at the camp. The property had a lot of quirks, but this one was one of the oddest. At some point someone had installed 2 toilets, side by side in the bathroom, with nothing between them. If I recall correctly, they were close enough together and to the wall that I considered it impractical to build any kind of stall or divider in there. And this job was hectic enough that I didn't usually have time to fix anything that wasn't genuinely broken. So I just started telling new residents that the left one was the primary and the right one was the backup. I feel like it's possible that one of them was supposed to be a bidet and someone fricked up somewhere between that being requested and it being installed. Miniature movie theater made to look like a spacer shuttle when inside. More PA speakers than in music concert and a screen about 5 meters wide. Finished with a sliding door that makes some noise and spits out CO2 when it opens and car seats that can be electronically adjusted. We were only doing the wiring though. Someone likes their space sims. Obligatory INAC, but I have a friend whose neighbor has a small pyramid in their backyard. It's all granite, with a golden top, and a room on the inside. This guy's friend who lived there took him over to see it once. Inside was just a sink, a mirror, 2 beds, and a floor drain. Pretty sure that's a sacrificial chamber you got there. Just saying I'd keep my distance is all. Not a contractor, but possibly relevant book anecdote. In David Thorne's book That's Not How You Wash a Squirrel, he included a story about finding a door in his father's living room floor when they were removing the carpet. The door led to a cellar tunnel, which ended at a ladder to another door that also opened up. They got that door open and discovered a warehouse that had been converted vintage style skating rink, seemingly abandoned. So David started taking his son there and they'd have a good time skating. The weirdest part to me was that he said they were never able to locate the rink from the outside because the windows were boarded and when they walked around the block, they didn't see anything like it. Eventually, they found the second door suddenly locked one day, completely impossible to open, and that was the end of their fun. But why would a house be linked underground to a warehouse skating rink like that in the first place, especially when it was located by someone else's house, and presumably owned by them? Kind of unsettling to think about. Work at a contracting company but as admin. We had this house that was highly discussed and kind of legendary around the office. Mainly because while our subs were doing work the family insisted one employee from our company be present during all work hours with the subs and family. And not like a project manager, but one office employee. So lots of our admin met them. The family had weird pasty pale kids who ran around like Donnie Thornberry all wild and dirty and crap. They all apparently had ringworms. The house was historic and the woman who owned it wanted everything done perfectly historically accurate. Which is fine, but some historic methods are not necessary to keep a house as historic. For instance, she wanted the walls plastered not drywalled. We tried to convince her to do drywall but she insisted on plaster. Creepiest thing though was all the closets had these pre-existing tiny little doors in them. Like for fricking Keebler elves. They were maybe 2 feet tall little doors all around the house and the closets that connected to little tunnels. You can imagine the number of theories we came up with about those. Earth goddess giving her brood the chance to learn that they are the center of the universe, and hobbit holes. Obligatory not a contractor, but house for sale we visited had a full bathroom in the master bedroom, just there, in the corner, separated by a 3 feet high knee wall. I was a real estate agent and saw that a few times. It really does look odd. I think my own master bathroom is weird enough. There's no door. The tiny room with the toilet has a door, but the shower and tub are basically open to the rest of the bedroom. The opening into the bathroom is too big to put a door, unless it was saloon type doors. So many weird things in the thread, so mine is kinda tame. My parents' house has a massive master bedroom, with a pretty big bathroom ensuite, toilet, corner jacuzzi bath, separate shower. The oddest thing was the fact that it was carpeted in white. The carpet is really nice and soft, but it still struck me as an odd decision. I installed a jetted tub in a master bedroom with a fill from the ceiling. Made the skirt, stairs and coffered ceiling above from walnut. I also built a tool wall over a bomb shelter door. Door was completely hidden but still functional. Hid a grow room in the bomb shelter. That tub sounds amazing. Not a contractor, and this is more of something that was missed during design, but I had a friend who lived in rented house in which the kitchen was right next to the main door and the size of a walk-in closet. It always seemed as if someone forgot to design a kitchen in the plans, and when they realized, they just converted a closet into a kitchen. Don't know if this is that strange, but a lady asked us to build a 5x5 inch niche in her shower as a footrest so she could prop her foot up to shave her legs easier. I guess it's a smart idea, but not something we get asked for on a typical remodel project. A 15-way switch all for the entry light. You could turn that sucker on or off from each bedroom, bathroom, 3 spots in the kitchen dining, 2 in the living room, 1 garage, laundry, office, and entertainment room, i.e. home theater. The next person who has to find something in that wiring run hates you, your family, friends, educators, and others I am forgetting to mention. They will curse you well into the next generation. I have a friend who is a contractor and he flips houses. The most recent place he just bought had a hot tub right in the kitchen. Like not off to the side in a little sunroom or anything. Just right there next to the fridge and stove with the dinner table adjacent to it. That sounds like something out of the film Boogie Nights. My friend is a builder. They built a house in a capital city near me and the couple had a sex dungeon put in it. They even told him that's what it was. It was basically a concrete basement, but it had a large altar type thing in the middle, and a wall that was set up for tying people up while splayed out etc lol. He said they were quite well off and decent looking, and you wouldn't have picked it. Not a contractor, but I'm a tenant in a house. The master bedroom has a door lock on the outside, meaning you could just lock someone into the master bedroom. The bathroom has 2 locks, and yet only one works. Was the intention here to hope someone tried to lock the door with the wrong lock and then be able to burst in on them and then claim it was an accident with a you forgot to use the right lock? Very weird. Safe to say I removed the lock on the outside of the master bedroom when I moved in. The estate agent claimed ignorance and was obviously pretending he hadn't seen it before and said something like, "Oh, I thought there was a lock on the inside of the bedroom, maybe." Or the kid's roommate keeps stealing things, snooping, and the lock was meant to be locked when people left the master bedroom. I've seen the one works one does nothing locks in older houses. When a no longer standard lock breaks, they are either expensive to replace plug or you need to replace the door. It's often cheaper, easier to just add a second lock. Grew up Mormon. They are serious about popping them out. Also, mom was desperate for a girl. We'd go through 3 or 4 gallons of milk a day when we were in high school. Contractor replaced hymen with conveyor belt. Got it. I was a landscaper trimming some bushes when the homeowner comes out and asked us to hang a picture for her. We think it's going to be an easy $20. When we got inside, the picture was a 7-foot tall 4-foot wide white frame she just got at some fancy auction and paid way too much for. She wanted us to drill holes and we noped out. That was over our landscaping pay grade. Why rich people buy crap like that is beyond me. 2 bathrooms from 1 bathroom because I can't stand sharing a bathroom with my husband and his smelly shoots. They are at this house maybe 3-5 months a year. The original bathroom was probably somewhere in the $35,000 range. The new bathrooms were about $85.90,000. The tile guy decided to buff the polished marble floors with a car polishing compound, dulled the whole thing. We are currently doing a hidden gun storage room. It will have a flush door inset in a panel wall. I am a recovering architect. Had a Jewish trash couple here in San Diego with beachfront property in Del Mar. The view was worth several million. First pass, I put the master bedroom upstairs with giant windows so they can see the ocean. I meet and the wife says, "Oh, I'm really into feng shui and can't have that window there or all the energy will go out my feet and through the window." So after discussing what to do, they came up with a solid wall. No view, just wall. They built it like that. Apparently gypsum board holds in your energy but glass won't. That almost makes me want to cry. While we are not professional contractors, my husband and I do renovations on homes we then rent out. Our most recent purchased home formerly had a hot tub in the dining room. Was looking at a house when we were moving, and this one house had 2 shower heads in the master bedroom. Not gonna ask what weird crap went on in there. Also not a contractor. Over a summer I worked for an AV installation company and one of the houses we were wiring had a full-size squash court under the garage. I never got to see it when the house was finished, but that was one thing I didn't expect someone would need in their house. I worked for a construction company back in 1992 and around November or so, some family in one of those big looking houses wanted to have what they called a shadow activated doorway installed into the main hall. Not sure why, but the family was generally a bit odd. They had a son who seemed like an butthole, but aside from that, they were alright. Ugh, Resident Evil flashbacks. Architect here. A bit late to the thread, but I once worked at an office that designed houses for the mega rich. We did a project for a Russian oligarch once who requested a room with no windows in his basement that was totally empty for an unspecified use. Normally we also populate rooms with furniture etc. depending on how the room will be used, so it was already a little weird to leave it empty. This room by his request had only a water outlet for a hose pipe, was all tiled so that it could be completely hosed down, and had a drain in the middle of the floor. I didn't work there much longer after that. My father worked on a 2-story house with an elevator in it. This same place also had the pavement in the driveway removed and replaced with limestone imported from Jerusalem. When I was a glass guy, we installed some glass in an elevator in this guy's home. His house is 4 stories, built into the hills in Portland, Oregon. As you stopped at each floor in the elevator and opened the doors, it was wine storage. Maybe there was more to it, like cigars and stuff, I'm not sure. He also had a tennis court, pool, gym, etc. Used to work for a plumbing company, and we were working on a new home for a rather wealthy lady. She wanted a bidet installed, which was no big deal. The odd part was she wanted this to rinse off her golf shoes. My dad is a contractor, but not on a very big scale. His oddest were probably the people that had him build a permanent outdoor ping pong table. It was actually pretty cool when it was done. And the woman who had him paint her kitchen and a few other rooms in her house bright yellow. Nothing too crazy that I know of though. Somewhat related. I'm not a contractor, but I am a truss designer. I once received a floor plan for a new build of a 3000 SQFT, give or take, 4-bedroom that just had a strange floor plan. I couldn't put my finger on why. It was a very open floor plan but oddly done. So I'm talking to my boss and he tells me that the drafter and contractor were having a ball with this one because the customer insisted on a house design with no hallways. Apparently she was afraid of being murdered in a hallway. Did a lot of tear down work on older houses. Very surprising how many had secret doors and hidden rooms. You know those window seats with a storage area inside, some are connected to the seat in the next room so you could just crawl through. Also found lot of rooms or spaces that had been walled up, some big enough to be bedrooms, but often only about closet size. The best was a hidden door open to a stairway leading to the second flood servants' quarters over the garage, also a secret door on that end. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.